All right, well, this is Trump indictment watch number 3, 4. I don't know, it's hard to keep track of the number of indictments that we're looking out for Donald Trump, but here's another one. My name is Matthew, and welcome to Matthewland. All right, so here's what's going on. On Sunday, Donald Trump apparently received a letter from the DOJ saying that he's a target of the investigation for January 6th. He just announced this on Truth Social Post today, Tuesday. Now, obviously, Donald Trump, this is very Trump-like to let everyone know that he's the target of an investigation. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He has a hard time not saying things. What is kind of questionable, what I'm surprised about personally, is this happened on Sunday, but it's Tuesday. He's just letting us know about it now. Here's my theory. So he got this letter. His lawyer said that he got this letter. One of two things happened. Either his lawyers didn't let him know until today, or Trump got this letter. His lawyers told him about it and said, Donald, do not say anything about this. And Trump's like, okay, I won't say anything. I won't say anything. And then Monday came around. It's like, okay, I won't say anything. I won't say anything. And then today, Tuesday, it's like, okay, I can't do it. And so he got on his phone and started typing, it's everything is happening. He just can't contain himself. This man has no self-control. None. All right, so he was invited to appear in front of the grand jury and give his part of the story. He was told, you can come in 4 days on Thursday and let us know. Just give us your side. This is really common. It happened to Hunter Biden. He was given the opportunity. Trump was also invited before with the last 2, 3 indictments. I don't know, with his last indictments. Everything. He's always been given the chance. This is standard. It's normal. Now, it isn't known right now if he is the only target or person of interest or whatever in this investigation. Just like in the classified documents, when Walt Nauta was also indicted, there may be other people that are indicted on this as well. We don't know. I'm sure we'll find out. But this case, bad news for Trump. It's being tried in D.C. Why is this bad news? Because in Washington, D.C., they know Trump. In the last election, he won a whopping 5% of the popular vote. Now, this isn't selective prosecution, mind you. Crimes are charged where most of it happened. It's just, this is the way the criminal law is set up. This is standard. He's not being treated any differently than anyone else. This is normal. He's going to cry about it. He's going to whine about it. But this is just the nature of the beast. This is the way our criminal justice system was set up. He's not being treated any differently than anyone else. This is not anything. He's just being treated like any other citizen, like he should be. He's not president anymore. He's a normal citizen. It's really unfortunate for him because that's just bad news. Only 5% of the population voted for you. Bad news. Now, another thing that's really bad news. So the January 6th committee, there was a single judge whenever they needed to get a judge's approval. There's a federal judge, one specific judge. That's, again, the way the system's set up. You go to the same judge for everything, who gave them approval for whatever they needed. This judge basically told them shit or get off the pot. She said that it seemed to her that it was more likely than not that crimes have been committed. That's really specific language. More likely than not that's the language that they give to grand juries when they ask for indictments. It's a much lower bar than to get an actual conviction. More likely than not is 51%. And obviously, beyond a reasonable doubt is much higher. So when they're asking for a grand jury, more likely than not, there's a really good chance that they're going to get that indictment approved when they ask for it really soon. So this is probably going to happen. Now, these crimes that the judge was saying more likely than not, they included obstruction of an official proceeding, conspiracy to defraud the United States. Some of the evidence of that one include that Trump knew that he lost the election. The reasons for that is he was told by multiple of his aides, that included Bill Barr, who in some of the interviews, one of the interviews in particular that he gave to the January 6th committee was he knew that it was, and I quote, bullshit. The FBI investigated all cases of alleged voter fraud and found absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. It was all bullshit. It was all nothing, pure speculation. There was nothing that actually happened. There was nothing. They told Trump that it was nothing. They testified to the January 6th committee that it was nothing. He lost over 60 court cases when he challenged that. Over 60. He didn't win anything. Well, he won one, but it wasn't anything that was enough to change the election in anything at all. Also, what he said that he was trying to get Mike Pence to do was illegal when he was trying to get Pence to overturn the election and send everything back to the states and not count certain votes. That was illegal. And no, we don't know if all the fake electors and all that scheme is going to be part of this. But we'll find out. Time will tell. Now, during the impeachment hearings, after everything that happened on January 6th, Mitch McConnell actually did say that he thought that Trump was guilty of crimes. He said that he thought that he was guilty, but this wasn't the time to do anything about it. That's why he was saying that we shouldn't impeach Trump. Here's actually what McConnell specifically said about it. Check this out.
President Trump is still liable for everything he did while he was in office as an ordinary citizen. Unless the statute of limitations is run, still liable for everything he did while he was in office. Didn't get away with anything yet. Yet. We have a criminal justice system in this country. We have civil litigation. And former presidents are not immune from being accountable by either one.
So now, after that, now that something's actually being done about it, now that Trump is an actual citizen, top Democrats are calling this weaponization of the government. We're doing what you said once he left office. And now you call it weaponization. Really? Really, dude? And top Democrats are saying that at the very least, he's done some things that are questionable. And at the very most, he's obviously done things that are illegal. And we've all been waiting for indictments to be handed down. This January 6th case, this indictment, is the most important case as far as our democracy is concerned. He was trying to overthrow the government. That's why this is so important. This is the building blocks of what our country was founded on. This is specifically what our founding fathers didn't want to happen. Think about that. The Supreme Court, everyone talks about the founding fathers, what this country was built on, what they wanted. This is it. This is specifically what they did not want. He lost the election. That sucks. People lose elections all the time. The peaceful transition of power is what they wanted. George Washington could have kept being president, and he decided to stand down and peacefully transfer the power to the next president. That's what you want. This may also be the easiest case of all of the indictments that Trump has had and may have coming down to him, because everyone knows what happened on January 6th. But this may also be one of the most challenging cases because there are a lot of layers to it. Now, as far as when this case is tried, it may also be the first case, because we don't know when the case in Florida is actually going to be tried. Judge Aileen Cannon, who is the judge in charge of this, who is also the judge in charge of all the documents at Mar-a-Lago, made a lot of rulings in favor of Trump that the DOJ had appealed, and she got smacked down really hard by the appeals court, who was very conservative, mind you. She's in charge of setting the trial date. Now, Trump and his team is actually trying to get that trial delayed until after the election. Obviously, Trump's hopes here are if it's done after the election, then hopefully, even if he's convicted, then he can pardon himself, or the next president can issue a pardon. Or if the case is still ongoing, he can have his DOJ just stop the investigation, stop having it tried, just stop it altogether. That'd be nice for him, wouldn't it? So that's one reason why he's obviously been hoping to have this delayed. Now, another reason why this is bad news for it to be happening in D.C. is the D.C. Circuit is really used to handling all these January 6 cases. There have been over 1,000 January 6 cases that have been handled here. So they're used to it. They are really used to it. Now, as far as our democracy is concerned, the second most important case is the next one that we're waiting to hear really soon. Any week now, any day now. Probably next week, the one in Georgia, about the Georgia phone call. The reason why that's probably the second most important case, as far as our democracy is concerned, is because that is about Trump specifically trying to change the election. He said on a phone call, I only need 11,780 votes because that is one more than I need. He was down by 11,779. He needed 780. So that's specifically him trying to change the outcome of an election. That is specifically against what this country is built on. That is specifically against the purpose of elections. Also, one thing about that cannot be overturned. That is a state case. No president can pardon him for that. That would have to be a governor of the state that would have to do that. Now, Georgia is a fairly conservative state, so there's still a chance, but it can't be the next president. Now, the third, as far as our country is concerned, is the case in Florida, the documents case. But this is a fairly easy case as well, because there is a direct tie to Trump. He obviously had all of these documents. He was a hoarder. He had so many. They were in the bathroom, in the ballroom, on a stage. They were ever in a bathroom. Who the hell keeps all these documents in a bathroom? They were in his desk, right next to his passport. I mean, this case is really open and shut. It's going to be a pretty easy case. But as far as our democracy is concerned, I mean, it's dangerous. It's dangerous for a lot of people. But as far as our democracy is concerned, this is not as important. And also, one challenging thing is because it's about classified documents. Now, the government does charge classified documents cases all the time. It's not really that difficult for them to do. It happens all the time. But because there are so many, there's this thing called CIPA, CIPA, which is basically having to do with classified documents cases. They can't show the jury a lot of things because they're classified. And so there's a process for that does make this a little bit challenging. But again, this is something that they do all the time. So it really shouldn't be that difficult for them. But the problem with that case, the judge is a bit of a wild card. Again, she made so many rulings in Trump's favor. Who knows if she's going to delay this until after the election? She can make rulings and calls throughout the entire trial that are really in Trump's favor. We don't know. We just don't know yet. And as far as the seriousness of all these cases, now the documents case, very serious. The least serious case is the first case that he was indicted on, and that's the one in New York. But again, being a state case, no president, not even Trump himself, can give him a pardon. If he's found guilty, he's found guilty. And only a governor can overturn that. And New York is not favorable for him. That just ain't gonna happen. But this January 6th case may mirror a lot of the charges, a lot of the elements in the January 6th investigation for the January 6th committee. But it's probably going to be a bit stronger, and here's why. Jack Smith and the special counsel, they've got one tool that the January 6th committee didn't have. Well, they weren't able to pursue, or they didn't at least. And that's a lot of people that they wanted to talk to, that they issued subpoenas for, that ignored them. Jack Smith went ahead and got him to talk. This was Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, Vice President Mike Pence, former Deputy Chief of Staff Dan Scavino, Rudy Giuliani, Kevin McCarthy, Trump aide Peter Navarro, and Chief Strategist, good old Steve Bannon, who is currently in jail. So we'll see what happens with all this, but it looks like this is really bad news for Trump. We've been waiting for this one for a while. So obviously we'll see what happens, but my prediction is Trump's kind of going up Schitt's Creek on this one. He's gonna get that indictment any day now. And once this case goes to trial, it's gonna be bad news for him. Well, anyway, my name is Matthew. This has been Matthew Land. I'll see you next time. I'll keep you updated.